Good morning. Thanks for choosing Fox 10 News on this Sunday morning. I'm Lee Peck. First, let's get to your forecast. Meteorologist Matt Barentine in studio. Matt, amazing weather yesterday. Tell us more of that is on tap for today.
Yeah, it's chilly here this morning. Temperatures down in the 20s, and by the afternoon we are looking at temperatures that will warm up into the upper 50s. But we got to get through this first, guys. I mean, it is chilly out there to begin the day. We're down well into the 20s, so even a bit colder than the forecast was for here for this morning. We were anticipating a light freeze, so still pretty cold though. 25 at Crestview, 28 in Evergreen right now, 29 out West Mobile at the airport, 29 in Dawes as well, 30 downtown, 26 in Fairhope at the moment, while it's 28 in Foley, 33 in Pensacola. So many areas, even all the way down to Gulf Shores. Now keep in mind this is at Jack Edwards Airport, which is on the other side of the intercoastal there, but still, even down there, we're seeing a light freeze. So it's really chilly here this morning. The good news is we will see a slightly warmer day than what we had yesterday, so it will warm up. We do have some clouds as well, so it's not going to be full-on blue skies all day. There is a layer of clouds that's going to work its way through here, so we'll be watching out for that. High pressure in place is going to give us some relatively quiet weather. There's no system anywhere nearby. There's the futurecast. You can see the clouds. They show it clearing out by around lunchtime and then having clear skies as we head into the early part of the evening. So here's your planner. So here's those clouds, shows it right in the middle of the day, and those temperatures climbing into the upper 50s, light westerly winds. So not too bad this afternoon. I know it's chilly this morning, but we will warm up. Things will get a bit warmer as we go through the day, mid to upper 50s for highs. So let's check out your weather headlines. We first talk about the light freeze that we got going this morning, frosty in some areas, passing clouds, but still below average temperatures for this afternoon. But as we go into the upcoming week, we're looking at a milder trend. So temperatures will warm up. I'll break down the details of that coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Matt. Well, more than 4 years after her husband's murder here in Mobile, one woman's prayers finally answered, solving the case that had gone cold. William Anthony Tony Hall was shot and killed on St. Stephen's Road in October 2016. His murder went unsolved for years, but this week it was finally cracked. Mobile police say a follow-up investigation led them to this man, 33-year-old Tenario Rouser, who they suspect killed Hall. Rouser arrested and charged with Hall's murder yesterday. Alice Hall sharing a message for her husband's accused killer.
My desire in life is to save souls. And I would say to this young man, Mr. Rouser, my prayer is that he will repent. My question is why? Why would you gun down a man?
Hall says she's thankful for the investigators who stayed on the case all these years. She hopes she and her family can finally start a new chapter once Rouser is convicted. Well, right now, the coronavirus pandemic not letting up. The U.S. recording more than 3,700 new deaths from the virus. The total number of deaths now approaching 400,000. More than 10 million people nationwide have received at least the first dose of the vaccine. However, Alabama still lags behind the rest of the country, ranking dead last in vaccinations per capita. Well, multiple states behind schedule in vaccine supply for all their residents, now blaming the federal government for misleading them on when the next shipments would arrive. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more.
We were lied to with plans of the administration to release reserve doses that were to be the second doses of the vaccine.
Several state governors accusing the White House on Friday of making a promise it couldn't keep when it pledged to release more vaccine doses from a federal stockpile that had already run dry.
Now we find out today, at least from what the media is reporting, is that the cupboard's bare in Washington, D.C.
New York City recently expanded who is eligible to get the vaccine, opening up the Javits Convention Center to serve as a mass vaccination site, but now says they could run out of doses as soon as next week. Around 10.5 million Americans have gotten a shot, a little more than half of the 20 million goal the federal government had hoped for by the end of 2020. This week, President-elect Biden unveiled a $1.9 trillion plan that would aim to expand distribution, reopen schools by spring, and deliver another round of stimulus relief for Americans.
I'm convinced we can get it done because the health of the nation is literally at stake.
Another new concern, federal health officials now believe the new, more contagious mutation of the coronavirus, first detected in the UK and since detected in several states, could soon become the dominant strain in the U.S. by March, ramping up infections and hospitalizations. Doctors, however, remain optimistic that the current vaccines will be effective against the new variant. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Mobile's first mass vaccination event took place at the Alabama Cruise Terminal. 1,000 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine were given yesterday to a select group of people. Those 75 and older were first in line, and then healthcare workers and first responders followed. It was first come, first serve. Those 75 and up went from 8 a.m. through 1:30 p.m. Then healthcare workers and those first responders from 1:30 to 8 p.m. At the head of the line, 76-year-old Lorenzo Evans. He arrived at 2 p.m. Friday to make sure he got his shot.
Why was it so important that you got here? Obviously, there's a priority for you.
Well, yes, I got a ton of grandkids and great grandkids I'd like to see. I haven't seen in over a year. So it's important for me, to be able to see them,
Well, the line started moving promptly at 8 o'clock, and under the direction of police and health department workers, the vaccinations got underway. Those in line were glad they got an early start and said they'd like to see more events like this one. Well, over the bay, the state is getting ready to start vaccinations in Daphne. So who can get a shot there? Well, same requirements as Mobile apply. You must be 75 years of age or older, a healthcare provider, or a first responder. Go to Daphne Civic Center on Tuesday and Thursday over the next 2 weeks. Registration is on site, and you'll be given a time slot to come back to get your shot. Gates open at 6:30 in the morning. Vaccinations start at 9 and stop at 3 p.m. Now, keep in mind, supplies will also be limited there, and the health department's anticipating about 600 vials of vaccine will be distributed the first 2 days. Well, NASA test at Stennis Space Center didn't go quite as planned. The Artemis core stage rocket was supposed to fire for about 8 minutes, but it was automatically shut down just 1 minute into the test. There was some sort of issue with one of the engines. The rocket test was simulating a launch. It was securely strapped into the B-2 test stand at Stennis Space Center as it generated 1.6 million pounds of thrust. Now, despite it not going as planned, NASA officials are not calling this a total failure.
It is without question the amount of progress that we've made here today is remarkable. And no, this is not a failure. This is a test. And we tested today in a way that is meaningful, where we're going to learn, we're going to make adjustments, and we're going to fly to the moon.
Engineers are looking at the data, so at this point it's unclear if the test needs to be redone.